Nagash, channel dedicated to Age of Sigma, and in this video it's just going to be another live video. And the reason for this is because I have decided to start working slash finishing my Armies for Parade project, and this is a project I started earlier this year, which is for my Temple of Sinesh, which is my Slaves of Darkness army, which are for the followers of Sinesh. And the reason why I decided to do this, I know I said I was going to focus on the Corn Dragons for these live videos. However, Armies Parade is fastly approaching. Now, they haven't actually said when it is going to be, but we all know it's going to be about the middle week for October in the UK. Anyway, so if you guys have just joined, then just to let you know that I am going to be working on in the first of a series of videos for my Armies and Parade board, which is going to be for my Temples of Sinesh. Now, I don't know when the actual date is going to be. I don't know when the deadline is. All I know is it's usually situated in the middle of October, usually around the 18th, 15th, something like that. It could be the weekend after the 18th. That could be how it's going to be. I think that's the 19th then, is it, from memory, of October. Could be that, could not be. But that's what I'm sort of aiming for. So that's why I want to get not really so much of an early start, but that's why, because I've already started this project, but I sort of left it a little bit. But that's why I want to get back on board so I can be ready for the deadline whenever they announce it. Because if they announce it in, I don't know, still not August, let's say they announce at the end of August when the deadline's going to be, it's not going to give me a lot of time to be able to work in the army, because I'm sure as many as you guys, work is a very dominant part of your life, or family or something like that, and you can't really put too much together in such a short notice for a competition, if you like. And I don't mean like I do Army and Parade for competitions to try and win things. I mainly do it just to try and sort of take part. But anyway, so what we're going to try and do in this first video of the series, instead of, I sort of learn on doing these live videos, is that I try to have like a batch painting session along those lines with the models. And unfortunately, when I try and do a batch painting session on a live video, I don't really tend to get much work really done at all. So instead, I'm trying to look at just focusing on one model. So we've got one of here, one of my Centaurs, which is just one of the kit bash models I've got in the army, which is going to be for the Chaos Knights. Now, I'm going to try and focus on getting this, if not fully painted, like nearly there, rather than just getting like a little bit done on all of them. But nevertheless, let us actually start some painting on this thing. So with this model, the color schemes, white, gold, purple, and sort of dark, you got there, and there's some stuff to do on the basing as well. So the first thing we're going to do for this particular model is that we're going to brighten up some of the purple here, as it's got a little bit too dark for my liking personally. So the color I actually used for the purple was Xenos purple. However, Gene Seeded purple, that's it. Unfortunately though, I believe my Gene Seeded purple might be a little bit too old. Essentially, basically it dried up, so I'm put loads of water in there to try and make it work again, and we're going to find out to see if that actually worked. And it may have done, but I feel like we are going to have to mix some other paints to try and come up with our own Gene Seeded purple, because I do not have enough time to go to the store to get another one. But are you guys working on anything for Army on Parade, anything like that? Or are you don't have time, or you got something planned for next year, or you've been working on something for a long time? And let me know as well, because I do like to hear what you guys are up to. I do feel like it does make it a bit more, how do I say it? A bit more, community-based, all that sort of thing, because Army and Parade, I'll be honest, I don't always get to do it, but I do try as much as I can. I managed to do it the last couple of years. Where the first year I did was my Fleshy Court to different Armies Parade, and then after that I did, so for last year I did my Legions and Nagash, which were all the Mortarks, Nagash, and a whole legion of skeletons and all his big and nasty things. So yeah, that's quite nice. And yeah, I know this is Age of Nagash. It would be nice to do another Death one, but I don't really have another Death army since last year. I don't really have so much on Nighthorn, I would like to have a Nighthorn army, but I would like to have loads of armies, and I have to sort of narrow it down a little bit, and I have already spent a lot of attention already on Death, so it was always nice to try other things, and the reason why I really like Slaves to Darkness is because they're voted one of the worst armies competitively, so I want to build up a force to try and be competitive with them to see what I can do, and that is the general idea of it. What's Chris says, so cut a length or sprue and use that to mix the paint in. I have got basically an old paintbrush with no brush hairs on it. I'm probably going to try and do that in a minute. And then Chris was saying, I'm going to paint up an entirely old school squat board for Armor Sprayed. Yeah, mate, that's cool. That's different. Do that for sure. And then Tyler's saying, what model you use to kit bash that model. So this model here, so this Centaur, so it has got, I've got to try and stop shaking the camera. So it has got, so the base of it is a Chaos Knight. That's what the horse is. And then the body here we've got is a Stormcast Liberator. And then we have got a shield from a Chaos Knight. We have got the spear from the Chaos Knight. And then the helmet is a Chaos Warrior helmet with the horns cut off and a helmet crest which I've green stuff on top of it to give it a very Greek theme, because I do like, Temple of Slanesh, and that's how I want to theme the army with, like a Greek sort of style. So that's what I decided to do for that one there. But yes, I am going to try and see if I can mix this up a little bit, just so it's not so but actually, you know what, I changed my mind about that. We are going to do a little bit of mixing, because I do want to make the highlight a bit better on these models. So we're going to mix, is that Declia Ligar? Can't pronounce that name, but there you go, it's an edge paint. And we're going to mix that with the Gene Stealer to try and get a bit of a highlight. I am by far no professional when it comes to painting at all. I like experimenting and finding things and trying and writing them down so I don't forget about them, but I'm not perfect at the end of the day. So yeah, we're just going to use this for now. This will be fine. The idea of the army for Armies Parade will be to get it all painted, and then if there's any extra bits I can do for the army, like, paint up a little bit more on it, or like give a little bit more detail, make it a little bit better, I'll be doing that towards the end if I've got the time. Otherwise, a problem what I do find I have is that I put time into things that you feel like they make a big difference to how a model looks, but they don't really from about 2 feet away. And then by the time the competition is, or whatever you're preparing for, the tournament, by the time you've made all those little changes, you've ran out of time to make the bigger changes that would have made more of an impact. So that's why I'm going to be more careful on how I do this. And Chris said, run them as bull centaurs. They are not really big enough for that. I imagine bull centaurs are on a bigger base. They may be, they may not be. If they were, yeah, I'd do that to run them in a Chaos Dwarf army and a Legion of Asgard, I believe it's called. Army I would do, but like I say, I want to use them for Slaves to Darkness because I want to see what I can do with them, because like I say, a lot of people say they're terrible, so I like to see that as a bit of a personal challenge to try and make them, if not competitive, make them a challenge for most other armies out there, rather than just being an easy walk in the park to beat. That's how I like to make an army, to drag it out of the gutter. Some armies you just can't save, some armies are just terrible, but I'm hoping I can do something with the Slaves of Darkness here, in all honesty, to try and do that. That'll be the army, and that's how I got it planned. So Chris was saying this is just in Nagash. Join the Nagash Dead Army Club. Yeah, so I would like to do a Nagash like Army Parade. However, like I say, I have done that for the last year, so I can't really do that again, unfortunately. But Crystal, so you say that you're going to be doing your what do you call it? Squat army. Have you already started working on it? I imagine you have, or have you not got too many models so you can still do it in enough time? Let me know that as well. Whilst I'm doing this, I'm not the fastest painter, I'll tell you that. I just decided that while I'm painting, I might as well do some sort of video for you guys, case any of you guys are interested in this sort of stuff. Because Army and Parade, it is a good event. It's sort of an event that can be looked over, I personally think. I think, you know, especially if you don't have the time, or you you know, got other things in your mind, that sort of thing. You can't get an army together to be able to get it done. It's sparse, but I think if you do take the time to take part in an Armies Parade, when you go to the store and you see all the other armies, it does look really nice, to be in all fairness. It does look really, really cool. As I personally think so. So, yeah, that's why I like to take part. That's why I like to sort of be, you know, part of the community at the store as much as I can. Some events, you know, you aggressively just can't make because, you know, commitments and all these other sorts of things. But when I can make an event, I do like to, as I believe, you know, like for example, my local store is a Games Workshop store, and yeah, you know, Games Workshop's more expensive than third-party retailers, isn't it, to buy from? But I believe, you know, if you invest in the store, it really does benefit the community around it. So that's why I do like to support my local store as much as I can, from buying things from there to attending events, you know, from all around, lots of different things with that is how I like to take part and help out where I can. But yeah, so that is that. So I don't know how long we'll be able to go live for today, because I think some people and stuff are going to call me and get a little bit busy later, and obviously working early hours and stuff in the morning. But I'm going to try and get some stuff done. I mean, I like that. I'm very, very slow painter. However, I need to make a start on getting this army finished, obviously, and that is why I am doing it now, to get it done. Otherwise, it's just going to get too late and I won't be able to finish it, and that's not going to be really any good at all. In any stretch of the imagination, this army does need to get done. It's an army also that takes a while to paint as well, and every model, when it is converted, so every model does take a while to do the conversion. It's not just as simple as following the booklet instructions to how to build the model. But yes, so I feel like for this I may need to fix my Gene Stealer Purple, because I don't really know if it's really working the way I was going for. So I'm going to try and fix Gene Stealer Purple. So this is either going to go well, it's going to go terrifically wrong. If you guys want to watch, see how it goes, go try and find my brush that is broken beyond repair, which is this one here. And as you see, there's literally just no brush, like the thing just fell off. So we're going to use this to try and break this up and try and mix it together so it forms something resembling to paint again, compared to just literally the bloody goo it currently is. That currently looks like it could be part of a decaying monster, something along that. I imagine this is what a Gene Stealer looks like when you cut them open. I imagine that's why it's called Gene Stealer Purple. I don't know. It could be, could not be. But yes, so like I say, what are you guys working on at the moment? You've got stuff ready for Arms and Parade. You've got a lot of stuff to do for that. Can't take time for it, but you plan on doing it next year, anything like that? Or what you guys been up to in the hobby lately anyway? You've been playing any games, anything like that? And one of the things that made me, you know, take a break from doing this project was the fact that I've got so many projects on the go now. That it can easily get lost in them. But I believe, and I'll be doing a video of this at some point, that having multiple projects is actually a good thing, because it stops you getting, how do we say it, bored and stagnant of the hobby. Because I mean, the hobby is fantastic. However, for me anyway, if I just work on a single army for a very, very long time, I will inevitably get bored. And that's something I can't help. My attention span will go with a project, and I'll see something new and shiny. Well, not even new, I'll just see something else that's shiny, and I want to do that instead. So doing multiple projects means that it helps me be able to focus a little bit more, which might seem a bit controversial, doing multiple projects for you know, Warhammer, and think that actually makes you be able to concentrate more on the project you got. Because yeah, you may be doing multiple, maybe doing loads, but at least you're always doing something, opposed to getting bored with a army or the project you're working on and go, you know, instead of that, I'm just going to play video games, or, you know, watch TV, or do something stupid like spend time with family or friends, you know, sort of those things that are best avoided at the best of times. So yes, that is why I do like to have multiple projects. It's also, by me saying that, it's also me using an excuse to be able to do multiple projects. But it means that you actually get some hobby done rather than just, like I say, watching TV or doing anything else that's stupid. And the reason I say that is because this hobby, I mean, like, yeah, when I say like get it done, I mean, like, it almost feels like I get some work done, and it's not work. You know, the majority of us don't get paid to do this at all. However, it can feel a bit like it's work. But how you are building up a skill. You know, like the more you paint, the more you learn, the more experience you get, and it goes without saying. I'm sure many guys have found this out that if you paint up a box of minis, then the next time you paint up that same box, it's going to be quicker. It's going to be easier. You know what paint schemes you want to do, all these sorts of things. It gives you a better understanding, all in all, in general. So yes, and that is really why I do feel like multiple projects are good. Like I said, I'll expand a bit in a future video I plan on doing, because it's a big controversial thing, isn't it? Because when we say, like, shall we do lots more projects, it sounds like a bad thing, like hoarding, mass collections, the shame pile, all these other things we like to call it. It all has got a negative vibe to it, but I actually believe that it's better for you than worse for you. Of course, if you just buy so many models that you actually end up suffocating it, then that's not good at all. There has to be a balance in between, obviously. So Max is saying that he's painting his endless spells for his first tournament. So he's taking his Gloomspite Gits to a tournament in Germany, I imagine. How is the scene looking like that? Do you know what sort of armies you're going to be fighting in that tournament? Is it a local tournament, Max? And so we got Chris is saying trying to wrap up 2 army commissions in time to start working on my squat board. Okay, yeah, imagine then trying to wrap them up is one of those things where it's a case of taking obviously painting up 2 army. Yeah, that's going to take a lot of time in itself, isn't it? Let alone having to do your own army and parade on top. But you got to please the clients at the end of the day. Being commission painting and all and that sort of stuff. But then again, it does, like I say, like commission painters and like professional painters and whatnot, even just painting every day, it might not be models that you particularly want to paint, but just painting in general will generally help build up your skill, to improve that skill set. So then it's a lot. I mean, for me personally, I'm not going to be a fantastic painter or anything like that. But what I would like to do at some point is just generally get faster at painting. If I could get faster at painting, it would make things so much easier, because it means that you could get things done a lot better onto the tabletop, all these sorts of things. And I know you have got contrast paint stuff that do help with that, and they do. Contrast paints are useful. They don't solve all problems, contrast paints. Like, you can't use them on everything, but for what you can use them on and for what they are designed for, they are really quite fantastic, in my honest opinion. But you have to be quite careful with them. They're not as forgiving as you might think. You might think, oh, it's a really easy way to paint, so if I make a mistake, it doesn't really matter. It does. And mistakes aren't the easiest things to fix on them. So you do have to be a bit careful. But, with that saying said, it's not too hard. So you can do that for sure. Right, okay, so that's getting a lot of his cloak done. Shoulder pads are painted. Just do some bit around the side here. And just go there. Cool. And then let's get in this painted. Okay, and then Max is then saying, so local, so I know I'll face Sylvaneth Fire Slayers and one player will either Nighthorn or Khorne. Don't know about the others. New Drytra is scary. To be honest, I don't know what the new Drytra is like. I haven't really looked at it too much myself. But I know it has improved since the last edition for sure, of the Sylvaneth. And Khorne is going to be quite scary, quite anti-magic. And if you're relying on a lot of magic, it's one of those, isn't it, where Khorne is quite anti-magic, like I said, very anti-magic. But I don't really know, to be honest, if Khorne purely dedicates in being anti-magic, or it's just generically very good at anti-magic. depends if, obviously, you know, the army list you go out might not really be too much of an issue for you. Because when I think of anti-magic, I think when they take the prayers and they take lots of slaughter priests, which they often do take a lot of slaughter priests, but it's not, they don't always do it. And I'm thinking in gore pilgrims is where they usually do it, you know, they extend the range of the banner as well. But they don't always go that way, so it could be interesting, could be different things. Also, I'm thinking of the UK scene, so Germany could be quite different. Or you could fight Nighthorn, like you were saying, which in its own brings its own problems with the fact that how easily they can teleport across the board, etc. And when you say Nighthorn, do you mean Legion of Grief, or do you actually mean Nighthorn? Because obviously we've got the new Legion now as well, which it is basically a Nighthorn Legion, but it is not called Nighthorn. It's like Legion of Nagash, that's designed for Nighthorn, basically, is what the Legion of Grief is, for sure. But yes, so that, like I say, that's my ideas for Army Parade. Like I say, like winning stuff for Armies Parade, I have done it before at my local store, but I know I'll be going up against some really, really great painters and stuff. There's someone in my store who's got a Sylvaneth army and it's painted up all the fire colour schemes. So I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook, but he's the guy who first painted Sylvaneth like with flaming embers, and they're like, you know, their bark is like coal, sort of, you know, charcoal. And his things are absolutely amazing. So he'll be entering Arms Parade, which means that he's going to win, which is all very good and well, but it just means that bear in mind that if he's doing it, then it's going to make things harder for everybody else, which is always, you know, yeah, it sounds a bit, you know, petty and stuff saying that, which is, it's not. I'm just, you know, saying competition is tough, shall we say. And like I say, I mainly like going just to take part in these sort of things. That's my main sort of enjoyment I get, you know, being part of the community and whatnot, and supporting, and like I say, all these things are very nice. And if you win any award, you know, it's just an extra thing, but it's not the reason I do it, shall we say, for sure. But yes, okay, so actually this worked quite well, smashing up and stuff. It seems to be working, hopefully, although it's probably just going to dry up and just be a massive pain in the ass, but it might actually work. Would be quite cool, I do feel like, anyway. That would be quite nice if it actually did its job. But yes, so just get this done. Now, should I buy some new brushes? I probably should, but I just tend to blow it all on the models if I'm spending money on Warhammer. Yes, I know brushes are important, but like models are like cooler than brushes. So yeah, the models tend to get all the attention. It's almost like how Games Workshop spends their money. You know, when I say money, I mean their investments. I mean, oh, we could invest in all this other stuff that's important, or we could just bring out more Stormcast or more Space Marines. And like I say, I'm starting 40k with my Imperial Knights. I very much look forward to putting some more work into them. However, I am fully aware that 40k just seems all the love for it anyway, from like new models from Games Workshop, massive on Space Marines, and I already knew that. But it's absolutely crazy. Like some armies haven't had like new models for absolutely ages. Like, I don't know, Tyranids for an example. But Space Marine Primaris will continue to get new models before anybody else, which can be very annoying. Right, so Crystal's saying that new Drycher is 20 Thunderers and 20 Warriors on a single base. Okay, that sounds quite horrible. And then Mira's saying that my local Sylvaneth player is rather new and went for a Realm of Fire theme. Burning Leaves, Darkness, Bark, and a touch of Ash on the faces. Yeah, that's literally how I just describe my friend's army, what he's put up on Facebook and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a nice theme for sure with that. And I've realised that when I started this and I said, like, I'm going to try and get, you know, this guy, you know, like mainly painted and all that stuff, I realised that's not going to happen. But I feel like I usually batch paint, but it's quite nice just spending the time on a single model because it feels like you sort of achieve more, because batch painting can be quite soul destroying, can't it? Whereas this, you know, you're getting a little bit more progress with it. That's how I personally feel about it. Yeah, and yeah, it's quite nice. So that is that for this one. Just got something here, just a bit of granite stuff, so I want to get rid of that and just top it up so it's okay again. There we go. There we go. And then that is that. Just up again. And yeah, I mean, like, I am happy how like the Imperial Knights stuff are going at the moment. Sure, but I was focusing on them, but I just feel like I need to get the Slaves of Darkness up and running and done purely because how I really don't have a lot of time until October. And you know, October does sound like, oh, it's ages away. Why are you worrying about it? It's like, it's not actually that far away. You know, it will definitely creep up on you. And I think October, that's generally the time for most of the planet, isn't it? For Armies Parade. Correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously some of you guys who are listening are not from the UK. But I believe that is when they do generally try and do it, like worldwide. I think, you know, some weekends are different, but I think most of it is generally done the same, you know, like date and whatnot, especially the month, I believe. Okay, so that is going to be that. The next thing we're going to do is going to be the colour of the horse legs. So what we're going to do for this is just going to be a simple dry brush, just to get them a little bit brighter. I mean, like, I do dry brushing quite a bit for a few things, just because dry brushing, people say, oh, it's cheating. Well, it's not cheating, it just makes things fucking easier compared to layering the whole time, which I'm not the biggest fan of layering. If I can get away with dry brushing something, I definitely will. And that's what we're going to try and do with this one. So we are actually going to dry brush it Mechanicus Standard Grey first for the horse, and then we're going to build it up from there. But are any of you guys doing any paint or anything when you listen to this, or are you you know, driving back from work, anything like that? I'm always interested to hear. As like I said, it makes it interesting than just painting by yourself, doesn't it? When you've got other people from around the world doing it as well. So like I say, just doing some dry brush, it picks up most of the detail, and that's really all you need for the legs of this model. For my person, how I'm painting these up anyway, it works out just fine. So you don't need too much on the brush, just have a little bit, and then it will all be okay. Okay, so that is pretty much done for that colour. Right, okay, and then the next one we're going to do, we're just actually going to do the tail a little bit and just dry brush this up a bit. Okay, and then the next one we're going to do after this is we're actually going to try out what the grey sear looks like on it, and this is the new contrast base paint that's came out, and it's quite nice, like a bright, you know, grey. So we're going to see how that looks on the Centaur I have got going for the Slaves of Darkness for the Knight, and the first of many models to be finished for my Armies on Parade. Because for my Parade so far, I've got basically 15 Chaos Warriors. I've got 1 Centaur already painted, and 9 Centaurs to paint. I've got 2 Medusa heroes. I've also got like a Medusa sort of Demon Prince and a Centaur hero made out of like a Vanguard kit. What I've already got for, like I say, ready painted, all that sort of thing for Armies of Parade. So paint up, especially with things like organic and stuff like that, it's quite easy as well. I mean, I could even do it for the purple robes and stuff. Could be a way of doing it, but I just thought layering might look a bit better. But if I can get away with doing some dry brushing, I probably will, because dry brushing is just such an effective tool, isn't it? It's like I think one of the best examples to use dry brushing has got to be chainmail, isn't it? How much easier it makes things is incredible, compared to actually painting every single little, hook or anything with a chainmail. So yeah, but no, I'm happy with how the legs turned out. Certainly better than just being like, jet black for sure. Yeah, so yeah, happy with that. And then the next thing we're going to do is let's have a look. We're going to go in a minute. But like I said, I just wanted to sort of say hello to you guys and that sort of thing when I did a little bit of painting, whilst I did, rather than not sort of putting any content out there. I managed to get the Nurgle video up yesterday. I'm glad about that, because like I said, I'm suffering quite from a bad flu lately. Got to the end of that. I've still got a sore throat, but I've gotten over that, hence why I can't talk for too long. And I thought I'd finish up that Nurgle video I had going for a while. At the start, I talk about how hot it is, and that's actually because it was started recording that video and editing that video back when it was like 30. Editing that video back when it was like 30, like high 30 degrees in this country, in the beautiful Garden of Kent, which is in England. But yeah, so I wanted to get back on the videos. There haven't really been many videos for a while, so that's why there's like a little bit of a pause. But so Mia saying, got any advice on large metallic surfaces? When you say large metallic surfaces, Mia, do you mean like flat ones, like the flat armor of a tank, or do you mean things like, if I compare, like if we got, for example, I've been painting up the silver on this knight. I'll dismantle this because that is far too big to just put in one camera shot for you guys. But do you mean things like the metal surfaces of this? Is that what you mean, Mir? That sort of metallic? Or do you mean like if it's a flat tank surface? Because it means quite a bit of a difference in between that. And then, so yeah, if you're talking about flat tank surface, I suppose you could compare it to the sort of, flat red and all that sort of thing you've got going on here. But I'm not the biggest expert on flat, but if it's like all edges and all that sort of thing, I know. So Skyship bulk flat. Oh, the Cowden Overlord. Any tips? What I would maybe say is, like I say, it's not really the best song because this isn't finished work at all. But if you want it to look a little bit realistic, but I mean, this is not finished at all, this armor. But what you could maybe do, Mir, is when you go to wash it, and like a recess wash it if you want, depending on how dirty you want it to look. But if you don't want it to look too dirty, recess wash it. Recess wash it with, instead of just doing it with your standard Nuln Oil, actually do it instead with Nuln Oil gloss, as that is what I did for the silver parts of my knight. And what it actually does is, it makes it a bit more shiny, a bit more metallic, but also it makes the recesses darker and shinier, so it almost looks like that's greases, for the bolts and all those sorts of things. And like recesses will all get trapped. Like if you looked at like, the undercarriage of a car or something like that, you would have like natural bits where like the grease has gone into, or they put deliberately, so it helps the car function a bit better, on bolts and all these sorts of things. That is how I would maybe do it that way. Make it look a bit more realistic, something like that. You could even just play around with it and see how that works. So yeah, I would just simple little things of, instead of washing things with just your standard Nuln Oil or your normal washes, look for the gloss ones, because like I say, haven't obviously used too much of the gloss one, because like I've got a lot in here and this is the first one I've ever bought, but I am quite happy with the results I got from it. I think it worked out rather well at that point. So yeah, I'm happy at how that went. And then Chris was saying, big brush, a lot of patience and a lot of paint. Yeah, A lot of patience. I know sometimes, especially with some projects, and if you're getting to the end of there, you're a bit fed up with them, isn't it? Yeah, you lose motivation a little bit, so you just got to keep pushing yourself forward to make sure you get that done. And Sam is saying he's here to keep me company. Very nice of you to do that, Sam, for you to join us. Now, like I said, I can't really talk for too much longer. Only probably, to be honest, only a few more minutes. But like I said, I just wanted to chat with you guys, see what you guys are doing, and show you guys like the new projects. Well, I say new projects, I mean the project I'm revisiting to get done for Armies on Parade, for sure. So, what are we going to paint next on this shield? I think we will on the shield. So I don't know why I said that. I could paint shield. That's a question. Could paint it, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to do that because unfortunately, I'm getting more messages as well. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the video here, guys, as you know, real life does intervene and stop people from doing Warhammer. Bloody life, hate bloody life. But no. But anyway, I got a little bit painted on this guy, didn't I? Better than nothing. So I'm quite happy, and I'm happy with the conversions and stuff. So it will all work eventually. So guys, if you have just joined me, you know you can watch it for the start if you like. But until next time, stay safe, stay well. If you want to like and subscribe, if you haven't already, please do, as it massively helps the channel. And I'm still learning how to do all this live stuff and try not to bang the camera as I do constantly. But we're getting there. When I say camera, I mean the iPhone. But we are getting there. And that's why the thing will pause occasionally, because the camera is my phone. So the banes of that means that sometimes it will pause it. But anyway, guys, stay safe. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash. And then, like I've described before, I have to take this apart because it's on the phone and it doesn't look professional. But anyway, guys, see you next time. Come on, Mr. Grabber, don't be a pain. Right, guys, see you later.